Speaking excellence really isn't about being perfect. It is about the habits that guide your practice, your mindset, and your ultimate mastery of English. Today, I'm going to be sharing 5 habits that serve as progress markers, proof that you've reached a high level of fluency. Share in the comments which of the habits you feel you've mastered. I'd love to know. Advanced speakers don't wait for conditions to be perfect. They've mastered the habit of small, low-stakes English practice. On the other hand, many learners use English only when everything feels right, when they have the right energy, the right amount of time, or just a big enough reason to try. And many learners reject the value of small daily habits, preferring to wait for a big project like a work presentation to kickstart their progress. When that big project arrives, they then want to fix everything all at once. Is all or nothing thinking holding you back with your English speaking progress? Let me tell you a quick story. When I was in my early 20s, I used to let my house become quite cluttered, and it bothered me because I knew the systems that I needed to put in place to not allow it to get like that, but I would let it build up until it became this big project, and then I would make it all perfect. And it wasn't until I read a book about how to get on top of your home, like how to manage it, that I stumbled across this example of the author describing where someone had started cleaning the room by dusting the light bulbs. And that made me laugh because it was very familiar, that pattern of only taking on the task when it was something big, all or nothing. And people do this with their speaking practice as well, and it really holds people back because progress often comes when you do smaller, repeatable acts of practicing speaking. Even 2 minutes a day is enough to move you forward if you're really intentional about it. Read a few pages of a book, reflect on what you've read, and speak powerfully in a structured way about your opinion of it. That's enough. You don't need to dust the light bulbs in your English, take on these big tasks. You just need to stop the all or nothing thinking that might be holding you back. Your progress sign. You've made progress if you really recognize the value of low stakes, low pressure practice, and you avoid just working on your English for those big moments where, of course, you're putting yourself under incredible pressure and it's really easy for perfectionism to creep in. That is a trap that leads you to focusing on the smallest details that just don't really matter in the big picture. It's also a trap that leads you into feeling overwhelmed and giving up too early. So you've made practice if you are valuing small, everyday tasks that are truly building your confidence. Advanced English speakers make mistakes constantly. I mean, I'm a native English speaker and you can find loads of mistakes in my videos. The difference is what happens after the mistake. Many lower level learners panic and kind of disappear into a critical dialogue that sounds something like, "Oh, that was so bad. Why did I say that like that?" Strong communicators, however, have built the habit of being resilient, of resetting immediately. They don't let a mistake stop the flow, and they just adjust and continue. They try again. In the world of music, there's a famous saying: the difference between an amateur and a professional musician is that a professional laughs when they make a mistake. The issue is not the mistake, it's how you respond to it and the meaning you give it. Many native speakers, when they say something that doesn't quite land or they realize that their idea has just not been understood, they don't beat themselves up about it. They just try again and express their idea more clearly. So cut yourself some slack, meaning be less hard on yourself, and just have another go. You can signal this by saying, "What I mean to say is," and then just go ahead and say it again. Being able to do this is part of clear, fluent communication. Your progress sign. You are becoming aware of your internal criticism and you are more open to immediately trying again. When you stumble and say something not quite as clearly as you wanted to, you're not reaching in your mind for the dialogue that says, I'm so bad, I'm so terrible, and allowing yourself to spiral into those kinds of internal conversations that stop you from speaking, but you are rather beginning to say out loud something like, oh, what I wanted to say was, or what I meant to say was, followed by a reclarification. You're giving it another go, you're picking yourself up, and you're trying again. One of the biggest hidden stressors for English learners is what I call the internal timer. It's kind of an invisible clock in your head that's paying attention to how much time has passed and putting pressure on you to just say anything, say something now. Many English learners feel immense pressure to respond immediately in conversation when they are asked something, and that often leads to people rushing into a response, and that creates panic. Of course it does. On the flip side, if you take a pause, you can give yourself time to think, time to structure your ideas powerfully, and that is actually a strength to take that time. You can signal to the listener that that's what you're doing by using a place-holding phrase such as, let me think about that for a moment, or that's an interesting question. And all of that, taking the time, signaling that you're doing it, slowing down, that's part of confident communication. So practice it. Practice giving yourself a moment to think. Advanced communication isn't about how fast you answer in the moment. It's about how well you can command the silence. Your progress sign, you've stopped rushing to fill the gaps and started using pauses to your advantage where it's appropriate. Whether you're pausing to buy time or pausing to provide emphasis and make your point land, the ability to pause is something that advanced speakers have mastered. It's also something that you can consciously practice. Reading aloud can help. If you read something in your head, first of all, think about where the important parts are, and then pause. Practice pausing to emphasize what you feel is an important point, and to practice taking up space and allowing your confidence to show through the ability to demonstrate, like, I am calm enough that I will pause and think for a moment. Exams and career milestones are, of course, important, but they are event-based motivation. And so the problem can be that once the exam is over or the job is secured, then many learners hit a massive plateau because the external pressure is gone. Advanced speakers move past this by finding a deeper level of motivation, the immediate physical satisfaction of the communication itself. Eventually, as intrinsic rewards like a better mood, more energy, and reduced stress kick in, you'll become less concerned with chasing the secondary reward. That's from the book Atomic Habits by James Clear, and it's making the point that you need to be motivated from within. Intrinsic means from within, not from an external source. So intrinsic rewards are the natural benefits that you feel when you enjoy a process or you feel better as a result of doing it. For example, she enjoys teaching because of the intrinsic satisfaction of helping others. Over time, exercise becomes easier because the intrinsic benefits like energy and mood start to appear. He is motivated by intrinsic interests, not just money. The opposite is extrinsic, which means coming from outside. So extrinsic motivations would be things like money or recognition. Intrinsic motivation, super important, just enjoying it for the sake of doing something. You still value the external goals, but your daily fuel, so to speak, comes from that internal satisfaction when things click and you express a thought exactly as you intended. When you reach this stage, you aren't just studying for a grade, you're really relishing, the energy of something that you're passionate about. And that internal, intrinsic satisfaction is what carries you past the plateaus that stop everyone else. Having a template that helps you to organize your thoughts as you speak significantly improves how well you can get your point across. It helps you to guide the listener by creating a clear beginning, middle, and end that's also supported by transition words. If you want people to understand you when you speak, you need to organise your ideas. A simple way to do that is the 3 T's. Tell them what you're going to tell them what you told them. I'm going to tell you my biggest takeaway from Atomic Habits, a book about how small habits shape long-term results. My biggest takeaway is this: small actions repeated consistently create significant results over time. We often think change requires big effort, but in the book Atomic Habits, the focus is on small, repeatable actions that if you just improve a little, over time will compound. To sum up, the biggest takeaway for me was that small actions done consistently create real change. Your progress sign? You've moved past rambling and hoping the listener can follow you. You've moved past panicking about how to finish and what to say as you wrap things up. And you are naturally using signposting, transition words, and a clear beginning, middle, and end to the structure of what you say that is helping your listener really feel the full influence and impact of your words. Being able to recognize that these 5 habits are present in your English practice and being able to see how they influence what you're doing are clear signs that your English is becoming more advanced and, dare I say it, is excellent. You now have a set of progress markers, signs to look for and to work on. Again, I would love for you to share in the comments which ones you noticed that you already have. And if you want a deeper understanding of how to create good habits and get rid of bad habits, then you might want to check out the book review that I did of the bestseller Atomic Habits. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one.